everyone, and welcome back to another episode of the happiest hour on earth. At this point in time, we more than likely have had our baby, hopefully for about a week now, if all things go as planned. So we're filming this ahead of time, obviously. We have a fun topic for tonight. We're going to be talking about just some things within the park that we miss over the last, I would say, decade or so. Just things that have changed that we wish we could bring back. There's just so many changes that have happened within Disneyland, and some of it we've liked, some of it not so much. So we just thought we'd kind of go down memory lane and chat about some of the stuff that we wish we could bring back. But we are going to end it on a positive note and mention a few things that we do enjoy that have been changed more in the recent times. So we're pretty excited about this one. Let's go ahead and dive in.
All right, so we can't wait to start this episode. I think there are some things on this list that you guys will probably resonate with as well. Just some things that, you know, had a very special place in our heart. And you know, I'm glad we had those memories that we could cherish. But, you know, it's like Walt Disney said, the park is never going to be completed, right? Yeah. It's always going to be changing. And so, you know what? I'm happy that they keep doing that. But there are some things that we do miss. But also on the subject of just topics or episodes, yeah, we are going to have some episodes where it's just going to be me. We're also going to be featuring, shout out to Make It Magical podcast and Market House podcast. We have been on each one of their shows, and so they told us that we could use the episode that we were featured on their show just to kind of help us out with this pre-planning. So you're going to be hearing one from Make It Magical, I think a little bit sooner than later. Then I'll have one from Market House a little bit down the line, but we're just so thankful for them. Just 2 weeks less that we, you know, have to pre-record because we have been kind of pounding out a lot of episodes, which we have some really fun episodes coming up as well. But we love both of their podcasts. They're such great people, and we cannot wait for you to hear us on their shows from, you know, maybe a couple months back, but super excited for our listeners to hear them if you haven't listened to them yet. So
fun episodes.
Super, super exciting. But why don't we go ahead and start with this first one, which you guys probably know. I think every Disney fan misses this.
This is unanimous.
Sure. I don't know anyone who's like, I love Genie Plus. So the first one we're talking about is Fast Passes. Do you wanna hit us up?
I mean, there's not much Fast Passes we even need to say. What do we need to say? They were free. They were just convenient. They worked. It actually got you through the line quickly. It did what it was supposed to do. Not to mention they were just so cool. I love the paper Fast. We literally used to have iPhone cases that we had gotten off of I think it was Redbubble. That were like Fast Passes. And they were the coolest thing ever. Not to
I had Indiana Jones. Which one did you have again?
I had Tower of Terror. I had two different ones.
Yeah.
I had Tower of Terror for sure. I think I had a different one too at one point. But
it literally looked like the paper Fast Passes, and it was just the best. Yeah. They're just iconic. You know,
no one at our wedding, as we've talked about before, we had Fast Passes for the seating chart. People had Fast Passes to their seats with their names on them and everything.
Yeah.
One of my favorite things ever. And Fast Passes were just truly the best.
Yeah, they really were. I know. I really miss them too. And I don't know. I understand why they went Genie Plus, but then the whole tiered system too, like pay for Genie Plus, then pay extra for an additional like lightning lane. And it just makes everything so complicated rather than, you know, you walk to the ride, you get your Fast Pass, you come back in a few hours. It was just, I don't know, it was a magical time. And I think everyone's a little more bitter now that Genie Plus and lightning lanes are out. So that's what it is. And by the way, this isn't in any particular order. This is kind of a random order. There's just to keep you guys on your toes. Because this one's very different. Do you want to?
Yeah, totally. The next one that we miss is a show actually called Mickey and the Magical Map. It went away, I guess, during 2020
I think before. It might have been before. Yeah.
I can't remember when it officially left, but it was such a good show. It was a daytime show. It was at the Fantasyland Theater.
Yeah.
And it was like one of our favorite shows to watch in the park. Like it was just so good. And it was the best time to just take a break in the middle of the day when it was hot, just like with a snack and watch this show. It was the cutest show ever.
Yeah.
And it had like all the best, not all the best, but a lot of amazing songs and characters. It was just so good. A good like 20-minute show to just like take a break in the day.
And it was shaded, which was so nice. But I love how it was Mickey Mouse. It was like the classic Mickey Mouse, right? And his little like Fantasia gear, right? A little Sorcerer's Apprentice gear. But then it went through so many different Disney movies that you love. So you get to hear all of those songs. But that was like right at the turning point where when we first met, we were like all about the rides. Let's just hit everything, you know? And then we were like, oh my gosh, there's so much magic in the fireworks shows. And then we're like, there's so much magic in the daytime shows as well. And we weren't parade people until recently, but now we just love parades. But Mickey and the Magical Map was just so, so perfect.
It was so good.
Yeah. And very sad to see it go.
Yeah.
I hope they bring something
Maybe they'll
back.
bring it back. Yeah,
Yeah,
I don't
I
know.
would
I
love
guess
that.
right there now is the Lion King show.
Oh, yeah,
right?
that's right.
I would like
I mean,
to.
I love Lion King. So
Yeah,
I'm
yeah,
sure
I'm sure
we'll
it's
love
good.
that. You know what? I'm bumping one up because we talked about a show in Disneyland. Let's talk about a show in California Adventure. This is, I'm sure you guys missed this too. Oh, I guess I could bring it up because you got the last one.
Go for
So
it.
the Aladdin show at the Hyperion Theater in Hollywoodland. So good.
It was incredible.
Yeah. We never got to see the Frozen one because I think it came out when we love Frozen now, but there's like this period of time where we were just like, oh,
We were
I
just
only hear
super
the song.
over it.
So
Yeah.
over it. And we never got to see it.
Didn't care to take the time, especially because it replaced Aladdin. We were extra bitter about it.
Yeah.
So just never saw it, even though we heard it was good. I wish we had seen it now.
Yeah.
But still, Aladdin will forever reign supreme.
And I
at the
just
Hyperion
love,
Theater.
because we saw the Aladdin Broadway, which was amazing, but we actually liked the Hyperion California Adventures show even more. Love that the genie had that flexibility of
Jokes were always current and just spot on and just hilarious.
it gave him some like he was like the
Flexibility.
Jungle Cruise skipper
Yeah.
of the show, so he just got to do whatever. And it was exciting because it was always something different. It wasn't like, oh, okay, I'm gonna see the exact same thing. It was like, what is he gonna throw in here?
Yeah, he
And
was
sometimes
so
he had better
funny.
genies than others, but just like Jungle Cruise skippers. But yeah, so good. If
Miss
you
it so
haven't seen it,
much.
watch it on YouTube. I would love if they brought something back, and I think whatever they bring back, I know that the Rogers the Musical is not there right now for the season, but whatever they bring in to replace that, I hope they have that one person that can just do their ad libs, because
Yeah.
it is just so fun.
It really adds a lot to the show.
Yeah.
It was such a good one. My gosh. I'm very curious to see what, if anything, they end up putting back there.
Yeah,
That is such a huge space, the Hyperion Theater. And it's just like,
it's
there
hard because
has
it's
to be something there.
yeah, it's hard because it's right at the edge of, is it Hollywoodland? Is it Avengers Campus? I don't know. If it's Avengers Campus, do you have to do
It feels like it
something
should,
Marvel there?
well,
No, it's
doesn't-
at the end of It's at the end of Hollywood.
Yeah, because doesn't
But
even
kinda.
Guardians technically count as part of Hollywood?
No. They drew the line there. So yeah, I mean,
It's
yeah.
so confusing.
But it doesn't feel like it is. It definitely
Yeah.
feels kind of outside. But yeah, they'll bring something there. I'm guessing. I know there's rumors about Hercules. I know there's rumors about Encanto or Coco. I'd be fine with either one of those.
We'll see.
But yeah, are they going to go Renaissance? Are they going to go more current? I don't know. Yeah.
I want another classic one. Like Aladdin was so good. I would love to see something nostalgic come back
Yeah.
at the
Yeah.
Hyperion.
I would too.
We'll see. Who knows? But
Yeah.
next up, this is kind of like very current. Like we still don't even really know
Yeah.
what is going
Well,
there.
We do.
Kind of.
But it's like non-IP,
it's
pretty
not
much. Yeah.
there yet.
It's not
so-
open yet. Yeah.
But we missed Tarzan's treehouse. Not that we like went to it often, went up there, but we just loved the vibe of it, the drum beats as you walk underneath it, just all the jungle vibes were so good. And it just feels so like empty in that area right now. I mean, I don't know. Maybe it's going to be really cool once it's all completed, but it just feels like it's taking forever, first of all.
Yeah.
So long. And I don't know. Tarzan was just so perfect there.
Yeah.
Fit the theme so well.
I feel like I'm exaggerating slightly, but I feel like they've done ride themes quicker than they're doing this tree.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Why are they taking their time so much with it?
Yeah. I don't know. You know what?
Years.
Yeah. What's very interesting is Tiana's Bayou Adventure. I'm curious how long that's going to take once we know the opening date.
Yeah.
And then contrasting that with how long it's taken for this Adventureland Treehouse, because it really shouldn't take that long.
It shouldn't.
And Tiana's, I feel like they're a little bit behind too, because we recently saw footage of the Louis animatronic, and I'm like, dude, you guys don't even have
as far as you are
that much going on. Yeah.
Yeah. But I don't know. Like, I almost feel like they're still kind of trying to figure out what they're doing with the treehouse. I mean, there's no way it should take this long. Yeah,
they are taking down some scrim. Actually, there's some videos that Fresh Baked put up. So it looks cool, but it does feel like they are very far behind. But the thing is this, they are going kind of intellectual property. Like, some of it I think is Swiss Family Robinson, but a lot of it is just kind of non-IP, which I like, because Disney doesn't really do that too much anymore. But I'm also conflicted because I like having a movie property in there, like Tarzan. There's nothing Tarzan in Disneyland, and so I don't know. I loved seeing the sculptures that they had in there, and I loved hearing the music. I loved the pots and pans that you could drum on at the end. But
it was just fun.
Yeah, it was pretty nostalgic for us. But
yeah, it's gone though.
Yeah. Next up, we said this was actually in our hot takes episode, but we kind of miss Screamin'.
Yeah. I definitely do.
I miss that soundtrack. I miss there's an energy there that I think Incredicoaster almost tries to have, but then when you see the stationary non-animatronics, just takes me out of it. So yeah. I miss Screamin'. I'm glad Pixar Pier. I was just gonna say, like, I'm definitely a fan of Pixar Pier, and I love the theming around the rest of that area. Yeah. But yeah, personally, Screamin' will always be better than Incredicoaster to me. Yeah. There's just something about it. I don't know. It just holds a special place in my heart, I guess. And Incredicoaster just didn't quite live up to what I thought it would. They could have done it really well. Yeah. They could have done it really well. But. And I haven't, I think I literally only rode it once. Probably, because then you got pregnant. Yeah, it's just been a lot of soon after that. Yeah. Yeah, and then lots of motion sickness issues after that. So I just haven't done it in a long time. But I just remember feeling like I don't care for it, and I don't really care to put the effort into trying to go on it again next time. So Screamin', it was always a must. Yeah, every time. I know. So R.I.P. Screamin'. R.I.P. Next up. Oh, I think this is you. Oh, it is, huh? Well, we could just talk about both of these together. Yeah. I think it's kind of similar. So first is Disneyland Forever, a show. And what's the next one? We might as well just talk. Remember Dreams Come True. So can we sing, just to jog your memory, Disneyland Forever? This is going to be very horrible singing, but go for it. Step into the magic, right? Yep. Watch the story come to life. Yep. Come on. And then Remember Dreams Come True. I didn't like this girl's, I don't know. I mean, but it's nostalgic, but I didn't really like hearing the, I love the show. Oh. Wishes, dreams. Oh my gosh. Dreams. So nostalgic for me. Oh no, I like that part, but then and Julie Andrews. Yeah, okay, I know. But I love the show. A little cheesy, but the show itself with Julie Andrews. Andrews. Yeah. Oh my gosh. That voice. Nothing can top that show for me. Yeah. Honestly. I know, and then it goes through all the different rides. It was gosh. And it was perfect. That was the first Disneyland fireworks show I ever saw when I went as a teenager, and it was just so magical seeing it. And then it just feels like ever since they took that one away, it's just kind of gone downhill a little bit. Well, I think in general, we miss fireworks shows. Yeah. Because Wondrous Journeys was really great, beautiful to watch and all that stuff, but there's something missing. And I know you get fireworks on the weekends, but it's not as impressive.
It's not the same. Yeah.
It's not like these other ones.
They're short, much shorter than they used to be. And
like obstructed views. You're like,
yeah,
why am I watching this on a pillar?
Exactly. And you're not even watching generally the fireworks that much. Like they make it way more about the projections than the fireworks themselves. It was like the most impressive fireworks before when it was Remember Dreams Come True.
Oh, that finale too.
Oh my gosh.
Like they would just put so much work into it.
They were so good. And like every new like section of the song, those fireworks went so perfectly to what was being sung about. Yeah. It was just so good. I miss that one a lot.
Yeah. Oh, for sure.
I used to listen to it on my iPod all the time. Like when I first
oh yeah, a good 20 minutes.
Literally 20 minutes. I was just like, I would just put it on and just be like soaking it up when I was missing Disneyland.
Oh, I love it. Oh, it's so good. If you miss those fireworks, go give us a like on this video. Show your love, show your respects for the amazing Remember Dreams Come True and Disneyland Forever. Yeah, I think Remember Dreams Come True was definitely better, but Disneyland Forever had it was like they were introducing projections, but it wasn't just about the projections.
Yeah.
Like I love the thing where it was like 60 years ago. Like
and
you were like orange groves. Yeah. And it's like, oh, that's so cool.
That was really cool. But it was like a side thing. It wasn't like this is what you should be focusing on.
It enhanced the fireworks rather than the fireworks trying to enhance the projections.
Yeah, and you can't even see the projections well. Exactly.
So I love it.
Tangent
those are so good
for sure, but we have pretty strong feelings about the
We're gonna just fall asleep to these shows.
Yeah.
After,
I would.
Julie
Andrews.
I love you.
Know. My favorite. I just want to meet her so bad.
I know.
Give her a big hug.
I do want to give her a big hug.
She's like great. Everyone's grandma.
I know. Oh,
I love her.
All right. So sorry. Quick little break here before we jump into the next one. Our ring light just died. It literally was dying. As we were talking, it was just flickering and we're like, okay, just hold it together.
Distracting.
Hold it together. And then all of a sudden it was just like, bum, bum, bum,
bum, bum, like, bye.
But now this is our last episode we're recording for the next like couple of weeks. So
hopefully
now it gives us
a new ring light.
We'll get a new ring light by the time we come back. But anyways, moving on, the emptiness we miss. Obviously, everyone misses the emptiness. This is kind of just like a little cheap one here, but it is so true.
Crowds have grown significantly over the last decade.
Yeah.
And there's just no way to walk around easily or get through a line without waiting usually about an hour at this point. And it's rough. There's no more like jumping on a ride a second time right after riding it once.
Yeah, if you are like a recent Disney fan, like within the past like 10 years or something like that, and you started going to the parks, you better believe that when we were kids, we used to be able to like walk into the park and then run to a land and just like tell our parents like, we're going on Pirates, like we'll catch you over there. Just run, and there's like room to run. Now it's like
you have to wade through crowds everywhere you go, and it's so much harder than it used to be. And obviously everybody loves Disney. We don't fault people for loving it. I get it. But I also am of the opinion now, we talked about this I think on our last trip, if anyone goes for the first time at this point, especially like with their kids or where it's already going to be a little bit of heightened stress, and you have all of the things to deal with now, the costs, the crowd, all those things, I can understand now people not getting it the way that we do.
I think we talked about that in our what's it called? Probably Why We're Disney Adults.
Yeah.
And so this, if you haven't listened to this episode, go check it out. I'll put it up here on YouTube. But it was just a really great episode because a lot of people connected with it, and we got to chat with so many of you listening about just our love for Disney. But yeah, that was one thing that we brought up, is that like we understand if people who didn't grow up with it and had those connections go and are stressed out and like, why do people do this?
Why do you love this so much? Yeah, it's like
because nowadays it's stuff.
You're waiting in lines for so long. You can't get anywhere. Like everything's expensive. I get it. Like so much has changed, and a lot of it we don't love, but we fell in love with it long before all those things happened. So it's not like we're just gonna give up on, our love for Disney because of those things.
And it's still, we're building those memories, but we go into the parks knowing what to expect, right? Like if people don't really know what to expect or have a certain expectation and it's worse than that, it's like, I can understand that because it's very tough.
Stressful.
It's tough. It's a big day,
Yeah.
And so,
A couple days.
we know how to manage our expectations. Like,
Yeah.
we probably won't be able to
how.
ride everything. And other people are like, well, it's the most crowds you see, anywhere you go. So
It's intense.
yeah, it's tough. But that's not to say that people who haven't been and go can't love it. Yeah, because I know a lot of people who do, but it's just different and it's taxing and you're walking everywhere. So we could definitely see that. But
yeah. We
okay,
do
you
miss
wanna...
the lack of crowds quite a bit.
Yeah, for sure.
But the next one on our list is maybe I don't know how many people will resonate here.
I'm on the fence with this one. This is more slightly yours.
It was me that mentioned it, but yeah, I mean we both are kind of on the fence. I don't know. I miss Bugs Land personally. Avengers Campus is cool, but overall was a letdown. We've also talked about this in past episodes. I feel like they just could have done a lot more with it than they did. And it's, it kind of disappointed me a little bit. And I didn't even spend much time in Bugs Land, but I just loved the immersiveness of it. I loved the shade. It was just such a cute little land. And I don't know. I just feel like things could have been done better when they switched it.
Yeah, I mean, and that's the hard thing too, right? Like Bugs Land was fresh and new, as in you were planning things off of a pretty much a blank canvas. With Avengers Campus, you couldn't do that. You had to mold what you wanted to do into a certain shape, right?
Yeah.
And then I think this is going to change for me though. I think recently they talked about the new Avengers ride that will be there in this building where the Quinjet is, if they're able to pull that off. And if we get a nice e-ticket attraction in Avengers Campus that is comparable to Flight of Passage or something of that sort, then that will definitely change my mind.
Yeah.
But
and I think it will for me
right
too.
now it's just a Midway Mania workout ride.
Yeah.
It's
Spider-Man jumping.
Whatever.
That's cool.
Spider-Man jumping is awesome. I do like Pims. Pims is really cool. I like to hang out there.
We've only gotten drinks.
Yeah.
But yeah, it just feels like it's kind of just like an area for props for photos. That's kind of just how it feels to me.
Kind of.
Everything that you do there, you're kind of just snapping pictures. You're not really experiencing that much.
Yeah.
And I don't know. Bugs Land maybe just, faded in popularity. I'm assuming, not as many people are into Bugs Life as they are Marvel. That makes sense. But it was cute. And there was, kid rides, which was fun. There was quite a few rides within that land. And a lot of kids enjoyed it. So it's just kind of sad that it's gone for something that I don't necessarily think was a better choice.
Yeah. And I love Marvel and all that stuff, but they could have done it a little bit better. Could have the thing with the new lands, right? Galaxy's Edge, they're we're only opening with one ride while we continue to work on another one. And same with Avengers Campus. They're we're going to open with one ride and we maybe won't even do that one. Yeah. And then now they're okay, we're going to do it, but it's going to take forever.
Yeah.
That probably won't be till 2026 or 7.
It's crazy,
honestly, but
it'll take forever. It's I don't even want to get announcements until it's pretty close to opening, because otherwise you just sit there waiting and waiting and waiting.
Yeah, I know, it's tough.
Not so fun.
Okay, so we are going to jump into one outside of the Disneyland park, not Disneyland or not California Adventure. We just had to put this down. It's a fun one from downtown Disney. I know a lot of people will be I miss the the movie theater, or like the Earl of Sandwich, or
a lot of people
things like that. We kind of miss Rainforest Cafe, and let us just. I know some people love Rainforest Cafe. Some people just think it's cheesy, but we grew up going, and we had a date night there. Like when we were 16,
16 or 17. Yeah, we pretty freshly started dating,
and at that time, like Rainforest, along with like other restaurants of that kind of level, were like, ooh, like a fancy date night. It's like, what's fancier and more romantic than as you're eating, thunder happens and a gorilla's screaming in your ear? Nothing more romantic than that. Man, they're all shaking the trees. You're like, oh, I love you.
Great.
This is great. But honestly, it just
had some fun memories for us. I don't think everybody cared for it that much. That's probably why it's gone now. But it was
something about the smell too when you walked in and you saw that. I mean,
I don't remember.
Yeah, I remember. It was just kind of like I don't know. Maybe is that like a robotic smell? Or maybe the rain. I don't know. There's something.
No, I don't remember the smell.
My nose, I'll bring up something and she won't even smell it. But I have this thing about scents.
Strong scent.
Yeah. I remember every place I've ever been just by the scent. No. But Rainforest Cafe. I mean, something we miss. Not to say that we would go there every trip, but it's kind of just like a weird, fun thing to do.
It was just fun, and like what replaced it just feels pointless. So it's like, I don't know. I would bring it back.
Yeah, for sure.
If it was up to me. But our next one, I personally, again.
Oh, I do too.
Yeah.
But
I mean, again, mixed feelings, but we really
Is this our second butt?
Huh?
Oh. I was gonna say this is our maybe we've had a couple of butts where it's like we like this, but we don't. Yeah.
Okay, that makes sense. Yeah, this is maybe second or third at this point, but we definitely miss Tower of Terror. Huge favorite for both of us.
Yeah.
I was extremely bitter when they took it away and it got replaced by Mission Breakout.
Before you wrote it.
Yes, then I wrote it and I did love Mission Breakout as well. But I will always be a diehard Tower of Terror fan.
Yeah.
Very glad that it's still in Hollywood Studios in Disney World. But yeah, I'll always miss it.
This, I have to say, is so impressive that they were able to take, I mean, it was like a cult favorite, right? Tower of Terror. Mm-hmm. It was like, oh my gosh, everyone was upset. What are you doing? What are you doing? And then you write it and there's literally no way you can't have fun and like it. Now, this is what they need to do with Splash Mountain. Because I've talked to a couple of people, but some other listeners of our page too. We're just talking about Tiana's Bayou Adventure. It's like, I'm very excited for it.
Very high expectations.
But you have to literally have to exceed people's memories. Mm-hmm. Like we had memories on Tower of Terror, but those were only memories from I forget when it came out, but early 2000s to a certain point. This you have to exceed people's memories from the 80s to that point, and you have to. But there's no way of changing the actual ride. Right with Guardians, they were able to make it faster, more jumpy, all this stuff. You can't do that with Bayou Adventure. You could only change the surroundings, the things you look at, and the music. So two senses, right? Not the movement, but what you're visually seeing and what you're hearing and I guess smelling too. I know they talked about beignet smell, but you have to use all those senses to somehow make it better than your experience and your memories on Splash Mountain. Yeah, I'm very curious to see how they do it. But we will see.
But on that note, we were talking about Tower of Terror, so
yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
It's just that's the next big thing.
Just the idea of changing rides when they're iconic rides, is very touchy because if they're not done well, you're disappointing a lot of people. So Tower of Terror was one case where it was done very well. Yeah. So you can't really be too mad about it. Plus, after I thought about it, I was happy that the original Tower of Terror is left in place, which was the Disney World one. I'm glad that
was better.
It is better. Yes. I had no idea really that they were even different until we went. And then I was like, wow, yeah, this version has much more to it. So I'm very glad that that one stayed.
Yeah.
I just wish that I had the opportunity to write it more. That's why I say
Yeah. Yeah.
But
so true.
anyways,
So this next one,
we don't want to step on toes.
we don't want to step on toes. So I think I'm gonna wrap it in a nice blanket. Okay. We aren't saying all of these, but we feel that, and
In
shout
general,
out,
in
in general,
general.
shout out to all the cast members who work at Disney. You guys go through some things that I can't even imagine you go through. But there are times, there are specific moments where we feel
in
that
recent years,
I
I
that
just want to explain it.
yeah.
I just feel like in general, I'm not just referring to cast members. I feel like just in general, a lot of quality issues within the parks have been something I've noticed, like cleanliness, maybe the bathrooms, like just management of things, I feel like is not the quality that it used to be. Cast members can fall into that category because I do feel like in general, I've noticed more often than I ever used to that some aren't the friendliest. I just feel like back in the day, it did not matter who you talked to that was a cast member in the park. They were just there to make your time magical. And that's not to say that, anyone that's listening doesn't have that, as their goal.
Don't
anyone
think
can have a
that,
bad day. I would never say that, you're at fault if you're having a bad day, if someone's been mean to you and you're not having it. I get it. I'm just saying that, we've been quite a few times since the reopening a few years ago. And each time I feel like I've kind of noticed like, oh, like it's just been kind of different.
Yeah, I honestly saw this transition kind of happening with Tower of Terror. I remember that Tower of Terror was always so involved and immersive in everyone. Like the first 5 or more years that it was open were like all into it. And then all of a sudden I saw people like checking their phones and like just kind of like, okay, just get through the line. Yeah, get through. And I was like, oh my gosh, this ride's supposed to be so immersive. And you guys are like kind of taking me out of it. Now, a good example of people still doing that, Haunted Mansion. A lot of those people still do Rise of the Resistance, right? Maybe it's because it's something new and fresh and you want to give it your all, but then after a couple of years, it just kind of diminishes. But it's sad that certain things diminish. But I think also, and I'm trying not to, whatever, but I think we as a culture today are now so, everyone, even park goers, and I'm not faulting anyone. Like we want to capture every moment and we want to be on our phones and like capture the moments. Right. And I think a lot of people, when you're working too, it's like, you kind of have this draw to be on your phone. Just that's society in general today.
Yes.
So doing hours upon hours of not seeing your phone, I think people will just get a little more agitated. And that's not just cast members. That's just like everyone. It's sad that we're at that point, but I think that's trickled in to every aspect. But it's, our society, that's just kind of our society now. Yeah. And I think a lot of people are just not as connected as they once were. And I'm guilty of that too. Like even just walking by, I feel like back then it was so much like, hey, how's it like to anyone you saw on the street? Now everyone's just kind of like not. Yeah. Like, is it weird if I say hi to this person? It's just I hope we break that like as a culture. But
it's like everything has changed over the last couple of years for sure.
Yeah. But anyways,
sad.
Sorry to
that was
be
like
a little depressing,
note.
But hopefully that would just change people.
Yeah. Spark the joy again.
Yeah, definitely.
But that leads us to
joy.
What?
I said, I'm talking about sparking the joy. Yeah. Let's turn things around.
To the happier note. We don't have as many things at all. We kind of just we're like, we should just mention a few things.
On to a happy note. Here's one.
No, there's a couple. But yeah, the things we missed list was bigger for sure.
Yeah.
But there are a few things that we definitely are glad changed. First of all, being everything in California Adventure. I think we can all agree that the California Adventure of the past was not something that anyone would care to visit now at this point, especially having seen what they did with it and just how amazing it is now. We love it so much. Obviously, Disneyland will always be the favorite, but California Adventure is, in a lot of ways, it really is almost even.
They did a great job. If you haven't watched, I think episode 5 of the Imagineering story on Disney Plus, they talk about when they were just like, we have to scrap a lot of this.
Yeah.
And I'm so glad they did. I know it was so expensive, but man, if they didn't do that, it would just felt more like a carnival, like a fair, you know? And so now it feels very
disjointed.
I feel a warmth when I go into California
Adventure. You feel
Adventure.
the Disney magic, which is what you definitely didn't feel before. It didn't hold any of that, like Walt, you know, the fact that they changed the whole Buena Vista Street to that theme was just spot on perfect.
Oh, it's so great.
I love that whole area so much. And I love that there is now like something dedicated to like Walt and his start. Yeah. And, you know, Carthay Circle being Snow White's, you know, first premiere. Yeah. I just love that there's that. And then just the whole rest of the land is just amazing. So we love it so much. Not to mention, I feel like a lot of times we both just feel like the crowds just feel so much less.
The walkways, I think, are a little bit bigger, which definitely helps.
Yeah, and it just feels like the crowd is never quite as overwhelming there. Like sometimes midday, if we're in Disneyland, it's like, maybe we should head over to California Adventure. We need a little break. Because, it is just a little bit more spread out, a little bit bigger. So
definitely.
We love California Adventure.
We do. Jumping over to Disneyland, one thing that we are glad that changed was Tropical Hideaway. I don't even know why. It was almost like we were scared to go into Aladdin's Oasis. We're like, what is behind this? Like, we just never went in there.
Intriguing. It was like, there's just like an empty room. Like you never really knew what was in there.
Yeah.
But I never really cared to know. But I didn't realize how much space was over there.
Yeah.
And maybe they had to kind of like add some in. I don't really know how that worked, but
Tropical Hideaway is so perfect.
It's so good.
It's more inviting too, because I think Aladdin's Oasis, you couldn't really see what was back there, but now with Tropical Hideaway, they have that entryway very
so open.
Like you could see it, so you're like, that looks cool. I'll go in. You know,
exactly. Yeah, it was kind of like a wall. It was just like a big wall and building.
Yeah, they have
that you couldn't see into, and it was, you know, they were usually standing like kind of outside of it for meet and greets. So I was like, okay, it's just the theme of that building is Aladdin, so he's just gonna be outside. But now it's just so much better. I'm so glad that they gave that area some purpose, and it's perfect, just right next to Jungle Cruise, next to the Tiki Room. It's like,
and it's so great because Dole Whips are very. Before, when there was only that one location, it was so hard to get them, and it would always be like so much foot traffic right there. Everyone waiting in line to get the Dole Whips, and then now it's like, okay, you move that line outside of the Adventureland walkway, but not only Dole Whips, you get the different swirls, but then you also get those bao buns. So good.
And something else, I forget what the other food. Isn't there a couple food items?
Yeah, there's a couple of bao buns, and then there's the Dole Whips, and should be something else.
There's something else. I can't remember, but yeah, so in general, that area is just so fun to sit with your Dole Whip, watch Jungle Cruise boats go by, and just the ambiance is so perfect. So we're very glad that became what it is now.
Yeah, for sure.
Next up is Lamplight Lounge, which kind of tied in with the whole Pixar Pier switching too. I mean, yeah, I guess that could even be a part of this, because I don't know. I loved when it was Paradise Pier too, but I like that they gave it the Pixar theme, because Pixar is a huge part of Disney. Yeah. So I'm glad that, you know, it has its place now within California Adventure, but specifically Lamplight Lounge, because it was Cove Bar before, and also Ariel's
Grotto,
which we never actually ate there, but it was separate from Cove Bar, right?
So Cove Bar was like the top part, and then Ariel's Grotto, was
So they weren't like
downstairs.
a part of the same thing at all. So I like that now it's Lamplight Lounge, and then you can still go to Lamplight Lounge upstairs, but it's just the bar section, right?
Yeah, it's like the bar area, but it's just cool that I don't know, it just feels more integrated because you could get the drinks. Well, maybe before at Ariel's Grotto you could get the drinks too, but they did a really good job with that restaurant. And I don't
It's
remember what the
amazing.
food was at Ariel's Grotto, but the food at Lamplight Lounge is some of the best food on property, I'd have to say.
Totally. I think it's my favorite place to eat for sure. And
Vibiest and tastiest. Yeah.
Yeah. And I don't think I ever really heard good things about Ariel's Grotto.
Yeah.
So it was definitely a good switch. Lamplight Lounge has quickly become ours and like so many other people's favorite place
Yeah.
to eat and drink. They have
It's a must every trip now.
every trip.
Which doesn't really happen with other restaurants.
Yeah.
But
We
with
have
that one,
some,
it's like we need
kind
to
of
go
favorites.
once.
Yeah,
at
it
least.
has to happen. It's just the theme in there with all the Pixar sketches
Yeah.
everywhere, and just everything downstairs. Once you go down there, it's just, oh my gosh, it's perfect. I love
Yeah.
it. I love the food and the drinks. It was a good switch.
It was. Speaking of food and drinks, our last one on this list that, was a technological advancement that we're so happy is just kind of here to stay is mobile ordering. When we think about Disneyland, there's so much to do that any way you can streamline your trip
Mhm.
and get things quicker and continue to
Yeah.
go about your
Way
day in the
crowds
park.
are.
Yeah. Is always a plus. So mobile ordering, it's just so nice to be like, while we're in line for something, I really want like a pick me up coffee, or like I'm pretty hungry and we're in this line. Let's
Don't
just
wanna
make sure
wait.
food is going to be done by the time we're off this ride.
I love it.
So convenient.
I mean, like on that same note of things that changed around the same time, don't love the reservation system that much. Has been kind of
To get into the park. Yeah.
yeah, and just for like restaurants in general, if you want like
Oh,
certain
yeah.
ones, it's just
That
kind
does
of
make
made
things tough. Yeah.
some things more complicated.
Although, standby, or what is it like? A lot of
Yeah.
places do have standby
Yeah,
where you could be close to
but
it.
it's
Yeah.
still or
the wait list, right?
Mhm.
Trying to remember what it is.
But then you're
yeah.
still gonna end up waiting for a while. Usually, generally, it's a while.
But the nice thing, like I'm thinking Oga's Cantina, it's so hard to get reservations for Oga's, but if you're just within Galaxy's Edge, I believe, you could join the wait list, so you could just kind of hang out around there.
Yeah,
But yeah, it's I hope that they make things a little bit easier, because it isn't fun that if you don't know about the 60 days thing, then you're not going to get into that restaurant.
yeah,
It's like only the Disney fans are going to be able to eat there, not just the people who are coming to go on a
Yeah.
vacation with their family. They're not going to really
Yeah.
know that. So it's a lot more complicated than it used to be.
yeah. You really have to be in the know if you want to like go to certain places now. It used to be just a much easier thing to do. I mean, it was always hard to get into like Blue Bayou
yeah.
and Carthay Circle. Those like the more top tier ones that everybody always knows about. But now it's like so many of them that's the case, and it just kind of makes it hard for people that are trying to do something last minute. Sometimes that's just how it works out, and that can kind of mess up your trip a little bit.
Yeah. Hopefully
Sorry,
they make
went
some
back on the
Yeah, I know.
train. I didn't mean to do that, but just it came to me as we were talking about mobile ordering, because I do love the mobile order a lot. That aspect makes everything more convenient if you want one of those quick service places.
For sure. Yeah, and I hope that that's something that, Disneyland is constantly, or just Disney parks in general, are looking at and saying, how can we make this experience a lot better? But yeah,
Yeah.
this whole episode just made me super excited, because it's fun looking back on the things that you loved when you're younger, but also just appreciating what is there now. Not to say that these things that, got replaced are bad, because I love the new things, but
Yeah.
it's just cool looking back and then in a couple of decades, we'll be like, oh, I miss this thing that we thought was never going to go, but we're
Yeah.
glad we cherished those times,
Yeah.
with that.
Exactly.
experience.
Every new season of Disney kind of brings something new, and it is exciting to see, but we're always going to miss certain things that have changed.
Yeah.
So it was fun to look back on some of those things.
For sure. Well, thank you so much for listening to our episode. Thank you so much for supporting us during this crazy time. I'm sure we're very, very tired by the time this episode comes out because it'll be a week with the baby
and a toddler.
And a toddler. If you want to get us an extra cup of coffee, just know that our merch store is in the links below, and I think the proceeds from that would probably get us
They'll all be going
a cup of coffee.
Some energy saving.
Either that or diapers. So we have that. We also have some affiliate codes below for Park Hop Teas, Magic Candle Company, all that good stuff. So make your house smell good. Make your body look good with some Disney clothing, or some of our stuff too, and then have fun on a trip because we have a getaway today link in there. So, super fun stuff. But we love you guys so much, and we will see you all next week.
See ya.
Bye.
Bye, guys.